All right, so get ready, because today we are diving deep into something that, well, it probably shaped a lot of your online lives more than you even realize.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking YN fan fiction on Wattpad.
Yes.
Back when it was like the Wild West of internet fandom, like early 2010s.
It was huge.
Huge. Remember those stories where like you were suddenly dating Harry Styles or like you were going on tour with 5SOS?
Oh, for sure.
That's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, it's more than just like a nostalgia trip, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This era really shows how, like, digital fandom evolved, from just reading and consuming stuff to actually creating it and building these massive communities.
Yeah, like a whole different level of engagement.
Totally.
So, okay, like for anyone who maybe missed this very specific and amazing part of the internet,
Right.
YN, it stands for your name.
Yes.
And it's all about putting the reader, you, right into the story.
Exactly.
Living out these fantasies with whoever your idol is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wish fulfillment, like on a global scale.
That's it, 100%. It's incredible.
It is. Think of it like
Yeah.
digital age pretend play.
Oh, I love that.
Right. Like we all did that as kids.
Yeah.
But now it's like online.
Yeah.
And you've got this massive global community to play with.
And the platform that made this all possible,
Yes.
Wattpad.
Oh, Wattpad was perfect.
Free, easy to use, mobile friendly, which when smartphones were like becoming everything for teens.
Especially then.
Oh my gosh, game changer.
It was.
I can still practically feel like the fandom vibration of my phone, like getting a notification.
Oh, yeah.
Or a new chapter.
Totally. That's the feeling. Wattpad was like perfectly designed for this generation.
Absolutely.
Made writing and sharing stories like so easy for everyone. And I think that's a huge part of why YN just exploded the way it did.
And let's be real, a lot of those stories
Oh, yeah.
were fueled by the mega fandoms
Oh, yeah.
of boy bands, One Direction. They were like
Oh, the Giants.
the giant,
Yeah.
a cultural phenomenon.
For sure.
And their fan fiction was a reflection of that. Absolutely. You had all the classics, high school romance.
Of course.
But then also adventures, supernatural stuff, even like real world controversies started playing out in these stories.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Remember Larry Stylinson?
Oh, yes.
That fictional pairing of Harry and Louis?
Yes.
Oh, that sparked so much passionate support, but also some pretty heated debates.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Even spilled over into the real world.
Wow. That shows you how powerful these stories were.
Right.
They weren't just on the screen.
They were real.
They had real emotional weight
Yes.
for these readers.
Yeah.
And even started impacting the celebrities themselves.
Exactly.
It's like it gets meta.
Absolutely. And while One Direction was massive,
Yeah.
other bands like 5 Seconds of Summer brought a whole different vibe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, their fics often had a bit more of an edge to them.
Really?
Yeah, exploring themes of like rebellion and the darker side of fame. Yeah, there's one quote from a research that describes it as like digging into the raw reality of being young and famous.
Oh, wow. That's heavy.
Yeah.
It wasn't all angst, though.
Right.
Like, come on. Who hasn't imagined a whirlwind romance with Justin Bieber?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right.
He was another YN superstar.
Totally.
And his stories really showed the range this genre could have.
Yeah.
You could go from like lighthearted high school fluff to like Bieber saving the world from an alien invasion,
Oh, I love it.
Anything was possible.
Speaking of variety, we got to talk about the tropes.
Oh, yeah.
Some were sweet, some were, well, let's say they haven't aged quite as well.
Right.
Maybe a little problematic now looking back.
Yeah, tropes are like shortcuts to a feeling.
Yeah.
They use familiar patterns that readers love, but with endless variations. It's why the bad boy trope was so popular.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about that power dynamic,
Right.
the fantasy of fixing someone.
Yeah.
Especially with younger readers, it really resonates.
I think that ties in something deeper about like why people connect with YN.
Oh, totally.
It's not just about the celebrity. It's about exploring these emotions.
Yes.
And situations that maybe you wouldn't in real life.
It's a safe space to do that.
Yes, exactly.
And sometimes it's about pushing those boundaries, too,
Oh, for sure.
Like, take the kidnapped trope.
Yeah,
Pretty problematic looking back, but it was huge back then.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Definitely not something we'd romanticize now.
Not so much.
But maybe for those teens, it was a way to explore like themes of danger,
Right.
vulnerability.
Yes, but in a fictional setting.
Right, exactly. Safely.
Exactly. It's fascinating how those like seemingly crazy plots
Right.
could tap into those really real teen anxieties and
Yeah,
desires.
Totally.
Like, okay.
Then you have the tour life meet cute trope,
Oh, yeah.
which is like every fan's dream come true.
Of course, to meet your idol, be swept off your feet.
Right. Pure escapism.
Your escapism, yep.
I'll admit, I even indulged in a few of those fantasies back in the day.
I think we all did.
Right.
I think it speaks to that deeper longing for connection,
Yeah.
recognition, to be seen by someone you admire.
Especially during those,
Formative years.
formative years, it can be really powerful.
Incredibly powerful.
And YN provided that outlet for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And before we go any further, we have to talk about the supernatural element.
Oh, of course.
Vampires, werewolves, you name it.
All of it.
They all found their way into YN fanfiction.
That's where the wish fulfillment gets cranked up to 11.
Oh, yeah, right. Not only do you get to be with your idol, but you're also in this world of magic and danger.
Exactly,
Taking all those teen anxieties and desires and giving them a supernatural twist.
Exactly, and it worked.
It worked. Those stories were huge.
Massive.
I think it also speaks to the power of genre blending.
Oh, for sure.
Like YN wasn't limited to any one style.
No, not at all.
Could be romance, fantasy, sci-fi, whatever.
Anything.
It's amazing. And that's a key point here.
Yeah.
This wasn't just about consuming media.
Right.
It was about producing it.
Yeah.
And it was largely driven by teenage girls,
Huge point.
a demographic that is so often dismissed,
Absolutely.
especially online.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so incredible about this.
Totally. Yeah, it was about taking back the narrative, turning passive fandom into something powerful.
Yeah, like almost owning it in a way.
Totally. Yeah, and it wasn't just the stories.
Oh, yeah.
It was the whole world that built up around it.
Right.
Like the fan art, the memes, the fan accounts.
Right, like think back to your first fan account on Tumblr.
Yes.
Or that time you stayed up all night making a video edit
Oh, I did that.
for your fave band.
Totally.
Like all that creative energy, that urge to just make something.
Yes.
That's part of the YN legacy.
100%.
And it goes way beyond just Wattpad, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like this whole era
Yeah.
helped make fan fiction a legitimate form of writing. It paved the way for platforms like AO3, Archive of Our Own.
Which is massive now.
Massive.
Yeah.
Like a hub for fan creations of all kinds.
Yeah.
And it's not just online spaces that felt the impact.
Right.
Look at Anna Todd.
Oh, yeah.
She started with One Direction fan fiction on Wattpad,
That's right.
and now After is like a whole movie franchise.
A whole movie franchise.
It shows you the potential
Oh, for sure.
that was unleashed during that time.
Absolutely. It really highlights how these seemingly niche interests
Right.
can tap into these universal themes
Yeah.
and connect with people globally.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
It is, and it's not even just about traditional publishing success either.
Right.
YN fanfiction was playing with interactive storytelling way before it hit the mainstream.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, remember those choose your ending stories?
Oh my gosh, yes. I
Right.
love those.
They're everywhere now.
Everywhere. Mobile games, streaming services, you name it.
Exactly.
Like it was a testing ground for what audiences wanted.
Oh.
That agency, those personalized experiences.
Yeah, for sure.
But it wasn't just fans influencing the media, though, right?
Right.
The celebs at the heart of it all played a role, too.
Yeah, they did. It's a really crucial point.
Yeah.
The YN era happened at the same time as a massive shift in how celebrities interacted with their fans.
Okay. How so?
Well, social media was just exploding,
Right.
and suddenly there was this expectation of accessibility,
Oh, yeah.
realness
Yeah.
from these huge stars,
Right.
you know?
So you're saying fan-created content, all those YN stories, those Tumblr posts,
Yeah.
actually influenced how celebrities interact with their fans today.
I think it definitely played a part.
Wow.
Think about it. Back then, your only way to connect with your favorite band
Yeah.
was a carefully crafted fan letter or a chance encounter at a concert.
Or like a phone call to the radio station.
Yeah, exactly. But then social media came along,
Right.
created this direct line of communication.
Right.
Fans could share their stuff directly, and celebrities could actually respond in real time.
That's a game changer.
It really was.
That must have been a huge adjustment
Oh, yeah.
for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Fans and celebs alike.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like those YN stories
Right.
where fans imagine themselves in their idols' lives,
Right.
started bleeding into reality.
Yeah, like a blurring of the lines.
Absolutely. And while some celebs might have been uncomfortable with that level of intimacy,
Right. Of course.
others totally embraced it.
Right.
They saw how powerful these dedicated fan communities were
Yeah.
and started seeing them as collaborators, not just passive consumers.
Wow, what a shift.
It really was.
It's like a cultural feedback loop.
Exactly.
Fans creating, celebs reacting, that interaction shaping the whole experience.
Yeah.
And it's still happening today, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Look at artists like Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah.
so engaged with their fans online,
All the time.
using memes, referencing fan theories, even incorporating fan-made art into their work.
It's amazing.
It really is.
It just shows how much the YN era,
Right.
despite its, sometimes cringy moments,
Of course.
really changed the dynamics of fandom.
Yeah, totally.
It wasn't just about screaming at concerts anymore. It was
Yeah.
about dialogue, collaboration, recognizing the power of fan-created content.
Which is incredible when you think about it.
It is.
These predominantly young female fans,
Mm-hmm.
often dismissed by the mainstream,
Right.
were at the forefront of this cultural shift.
Absolutely.
It challenges that old image of the, hysterical fangirl,
Totally.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
It reframes fandom as this creative, powerful force,
Exactly.
driven by passion and a deep understanding of the media they consume.
Yes.
And that force has had real-world impact.
Oh, yeah.
Platforms like AO3 are seen as legitimate archives of creative writing.
Right.
Success stories like Anna Todd show the potential for fan-driven content to reach a global audience.
Absolutely. It really makes you wonder what the entertainment industry would even look like today.
I know, right?
Without that YN explosion on Wattpad back in the 2010s.
Right, like it accidentally started a revolution.
Kind of.
We're still feeling the aftershocks.
Yeah.
But as with any revolution, things evolve, they change.
Right.
The YN era might be over,
Yeah.
but its legacy lives on in all sorts of ways.
Oh, for sure.
What do you think is the most significant impact? I think for me, it's how YN changed how we see stories.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't just about reading them anymore. It
Right.
became about participating, remixing, making it personal.
It's such a good point. It really challenged that whole traditional idea of authorship and intellectual property,
Yeah, like who owns a story?
Exactly.
You had all these fans taking these big characters and worlds, these cultural things,
Yeah.
and making them their own.
Exactly. And that conversation has thankfully evolved a lot.
It really has.
Fanfiction isn't seen as this weird fringe hobby anymore,
Yeah.
hidden away in the dark corners of the internet, Platforms like AO3 gave it legitimacy, a space to celebrate those stories.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
And even beyond those dedicated platforms, you see that influence everywhere.
Everywhere.
Like, look at the rise of fan edits, those amazing videos people make,
Yeah.
blending footage, music, special effects. It's like YN, but visual.
Absolutely. Taking something you love and making it your own.
Yeah.
Whether it's words, images, music, you name it.
And you can't deny the impact it's had on the industry.
Oh, huge.
We've talked about Anna Todd and After, but there are so many other examples.
Oh, so many.
Fan fiction writers getting published, getting optioned by Hollywood.
Yeah, it shows how fan fiction can be like a training ground,
Right,
a place to practice, build an audience,
Yeah.
play with different genres,
for sure.
And it's not just writers. Think of all the artists, designers, video editors, that whole ecosystem.
It's wild to think something that started with, teenage girls writing about boy bands
I know.
could have such a massive impact.
It really does highlight the power of passion and community.
Absolutely.
They weren't just watching, they were doing, connecting, building something new.
And it's still happening, right?
Okay, yeah.
Even if the platforms and the fandoms have changed.
For sure, yeah.
Like the BTS Army, the Swifties, those communities for things like Stranger Things or like games like The Last of Us.
Oh, carrying that torch, yeah.
It reminds me that fandom is alive,
Yeah.
It's constantly evolving, adapting to new stuff, new trends.
But that desire to connect, to create, to celebrate the things we love, that's always there.
That never goes away.
Never goes away.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into YN fan fiction, what's the takeaway?
The big takeaway.
What should people be thinking about next time they see, fan-made content online?
I think don't underestimate the power of fandom.
All right.
It can shape culture, launch careers, build communities that span the globe.
It's true.
And remember, those videos, that art, those stories,
Yeah.
they all started with someone, somewhere, just like you,
It's inspiring.
who just decided to take that passion and make something awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
Keep exploring, keep creating,
Yes.
and keep diving deep into whatever sparks your imagination.
Absolutely.
You never know where it might lead.
Never know. You might be inspiring the next generation.
You could be.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, happy reading.